Good afternoon, everyone. I'm meteorologist Matt Bullock. For those who do not know, Tropical Storm Idalia has formed in the Gulf of Mexico and is likely to continue to strengthen into a hurricane early this week and potentially bring some impacts here at home. And so, talk about what is going on with the tropics. We have two systems we're keeping a close eye on. We have Hurricane Franklin and newly formed tropical storm Idalia. So let's talk about Franklin first. And so, looking at this system right here, it is a Category 2 hurricane with sustained winds at 100 miles per hour. Now, this system is an area where it's perfect for hurricane development, rapid intensification, because it has two things: one, low wind shear, and two, extremely warm water. Watch how quickly this system rapidly intensifies. By Monday evening, this system will intensify into a Category 4 major hurricane with sustained winds at 130 miles per hour. Luckily, though, this system will have no impacts here at home. The only thing that we're going to see from Franklin will be those dangerous rip currents, even some rough surf. So far, the models are hinting, wave size for Wednesday, between 5 to 9 feet, along with those dangerous rip currents. But then the next storm, the one that we've been talking about, keeping all of our eyes on, is this system right here. This is Tropical Storm Idalia, and newly formed at 2 o'clock. Has sustained winds at 40 miles per hour, tracking towards the north very slowly at 2 miles per hour. And here is the latest track. Once the system starts to enter the Gulf of Mexico, it's expected to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane with sustained winds at 90 miles per hour, and then potentially make landfall Wednesday morning somewhere along the Florida Gulf Coast. And then so far, the latest models have the system kind of hinting a little bit more along the coastlines with tropical storm force winds up to 50 miles per hour Thursday morning for our neck of the woods. So, looking at some of the spaghetti models, we're starting to get more agreements. Models are getting a little bit tighter, that the system is likely to move along our area Thursday morning, again, with tropical storm force winds. So talking about those potential impacts, so far, there's a good medium chance that we could see those tropical storm conditions, such as those gusty winds and the torrential downpours. And kind of showing you one of the future radars. This is the European model that you're seeing right now. You can see by noon, Tuesday, this system's in the Gulf of Mexico. A few showers thanks to a stalled front in our neck of the woods. And then by pretty much Wednesday evening, that system makes landfall in Florida and continues to track towards our area. So we get into Wednesday night, Thursday morning, we start to see those heavy downpours as Idalia begins to move across our area. And so talk about some of the impacts that we could see if this system continues to keep the same track what it's going for. Here's what some of the rainfall forecasts that we're looking like. The European model is hinting, between 2 to about 4 inches of rain with isolated amounts up to 5, while the GFS model shows a little bit heavier rainfall, still farther inland, but still agreeing between about 2 to 4 with locally isolated amounts up to 5 inches. And so we're going to see a decent amount of rain this week. And so other impacts that we could also see with all that rain in a short amount of time, we can see that localized flooding, but also some coastal flooding. And let me show you why. King tides will be returning this week. And for some folks who don't know what king tides are, basically anytime it's the full moon or new moon, the high tides are actually a little bit higher than normal. So areas are prone to flooding. Areas like Garden City, king tides can cause some coastal flooding there. Add the tropical swells from Franklin up to 5 to 9 feet. That's something to keep in mind, especially with the onshore winds coming from Idalia. So that's something we got to keep a close eye on, is that coastal flooding from the king tides, especially enhanced by the tropical impacts. Again, it's still too soon to know the exact strength and the duration of how long these onshore winds will last. Maybe it's not during, high tide. Maybe it's during low tide. It's still too early to determine the exact impacts, but I'm just showing you what other areas we're keeping a close eye on, because just because it can bring, those heavy downpours of rain, those gusty winds, we still got to keep an eye on the king tides that will produce that coastal flood.